Hi guys, welcome back to Vedic Astrology. Today we are going to be doing the monthly reading for the month of November, where we are going to discuss the transits of all the 9 planets from a Vedic astrology perspective to understand what is the kind of impact that we can anticipate for this month from a transit perspective. Now, guys, as you can see on your screen here, these are some of the important dates which are going to come into picture. First and foremost, Sun is currently in the sign of Libra and is going to be stationed there until November 16, and it then moves into the sign of Scorpio. Mercury is in the sign of Scorpio already, and it will become retrograde from November 9, and it will come back into the sign of Libra from November 23. Venus is in the sign of Libra from November 2nd onwards, and it is going to be in the sign of Scorpio. So, multiple planets coming into the sign of Scorpio on November 26th. You have Mars, which is going to be placed in the sign of Scorpio throughout the course of the month. However, he will become combust from November 7th till March 27th. You have Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. He's been there since October 18th, and it is going to get into the mode of retrogression from November 11th onwards. Saturn is in the sign of Pisces itself in Purv Bhadrapada Nakshatra, and most importantly, will become direct from November 27th. Rahu is in Purv Bhadrapada Nakshatra, again, that is of Jupiter, and is going to remain there throughout the course of the month in the sign of Aquarius itself, while Ketu is in Purv Falguni Nakshatra of Venus and is going to be stationed there throughout the course of the month in the sign of Leo itself. So, without further ado, guys, now let's jump into understanding what these transit dates are going to do and how you are going to see the impact through the course of the month of November. Pisces, as you can see on your screen here, Saturn sitting in your first house. If you're watching from a Pisces moon perspective, well, you are going through Sadesati as well, and Saturn still sitting retrograded. Rahu in your 12th, whilst Ketu is in your 5th. Jupiter, who's your Lagna Lord or Rashi Lord, is getting exalted, is in exalted state, but he will come into retrogression from November in 11th. And mind you, November seems to be a month full of retrogradations. Saturn retrograded, Jupiter retrograded, and then Mercury retrograded as well. So we'll have to keep that into mind. Venus and Sun in your 8th house, while Mars and Mercury in your 9th house. Now let's get started with the analysis of the last 4 planets that we spoke about, and then we'll come back in the in the same order with the rest of the planets. So your third lord and your 8th lord are in the 8th house itself, or will get in the 8th house, Venus, from 2nd of November onwards. He's currently in its sign of debilitation in the 7th house for you. Now, 8th lord coming into the 8th is good because probably that is the only thing that one would naturally recommend, because it brings that sense of intuitiveness, that intent of research, figuring out things, unexpected gains, gains that you've not planned of, all of them materializing from that perspective as well. So that is a positive bit coming into picture with the presence of Venus in your 8th house. He's your third lord as well, and third lord has gone 6 places away from itself into the 8th. So you are going to realize that there is going to be a lot of hard work, a lot of efforts, courage that you would be showing in hiding, in isolation, in the backdrop, which the world might not be able to see. There could be a lot of planning strategy that could be going in, yet you would be facing a lot of complications, challenges, difficulties to overcome. Unexpected problems will come your way, but you will still have a mechanism, a means to overcome those problems as well. This is a difficult situation. Venus in the 8th is not easy, but it also is going to increase, how should I put it, your interest if you are a married person in relationship with respect to your sexuality, and enhance it, and going to bring some degree of inclination towards that. It is also going to be a good thing to happen for your in-laws, for the joint assets that you maintain with your spouse. So I see a visible growth increase on that front as well. Now he is sitting in combination, in conjunction with your sixth lord, where Ketu is placed. Sixth lord sun is come into the sign of debilitation. It is forming Viparit Raj Yoga because the sixth lord is in the eighth house. But there is a beautiful thing that is happening in here. See, Sun earlier was sitting in conjunction in the month of October until 27th of October, when Mars moved into the sign of Scorpio. He was sitting in conjunction with Mars, and therefore he was getting that Nij Bhang until that period. However, the period between 27th of October till 2nd of October has been a bit of a tricky phase where he is in its natural sign of debilitation. But with Venus stepping in to this place on second, what you will realize is that again there will be a niche bhang coming into picture. So while sixth lord is in the eighth house forming that niche bhanga, there are multiple things that can come into picture with respect to career, with respect to work, with respect to your health. There could be difficult situations that you might have to face, yet you will have the ability to bounce back from those problems, from those difficulties as well. To make matters interesting, eighth lord is there, so he's going to bring its degrees of uncertainties, unexpected situations that you can imagine. But at the same time, you will have the strength, the courage, and the willpower to overcome those problems too. Good bit is both of these planets are giving an exalted aspect. In fact, Sun is giving an exalted aspect, but both of them are giving an aspect towards the second house, and Venus is likeliness towards second as always there because he likes it's the Kalpurus chart ownership of the second, so he's going to support for any kind of growth, monetary gains, savings, expansions for you guys during the course of this period. Both of these planets are also indicating that you could have some kind of a celebratory mode, some kind of a get together, some sort of an auspicious ceremony, some occasion celebration that could come into picture because of that aspect. Now, of course, Sun is in the sign of Libra, so it will bring natural level of humility, humbleness, some submissive behavior from your side, and that could, however, sometimes reflect, or your frustration could come out in the shape of anger, or uh, too many of restrictions or protocols from your side towards your family. So just try to balance that bit because that is something that you will have to take care of. But the favor is still falling in on your side because your second lord Mars is sitting in conjunction with Mercury in the eighth house, in the ninth house, in the eighth sign of Scorpio in its own house. So that's another good bit. So whatever difficulties one could imagine from a family life perspective, you will be able to counter those problems as well and be able to take the right measures around those areas. In fact, it's a good dhan yoga because your second lord is sitting in the house of destiny, and therefore fortune, destiny will be favoring you with respect to your savings, your money gains, or your mental or family level peace itself. So that's a positive sign there. Now, on the other side, for you folks, Mercury happens to be a Badhika, and he happens to be Badhika because he is the Lord of the seventh house for you. The ownership of the fourth house is also a resident with Mercury, and he is placed in the ninth house. Now, until he is placed into the sign of Scorpio and not slipping back into the eighth house, it is going to be a decent period for you, all this while. It's a Raj Yoga in itself. Number one, the fourth Lord is coming into the ninth house. See, this definitely indicates that there is going to be some level of destiny's role, fortune's role, which is going to be coming into picture. That will bring mental sanity, mental peace to your life. It will sort of make you happy. There is a possibility of you increasing your knowledge, expanding your footprint in terms of learning new things. A potential chance of you growing your wealth, your assets could also come into picture. In fact, your already invested assets could be growing at this point in time. We can already see what's happening in the stock market currently. So that should have some sort of a positive play there. However, Mercury also happens to be the Badhaka, and the seventh lord is going three places away. Your spouse could also be, putting in a lot of effort, or some effort is required from your spouse's side, from your business partner side, or partnerships in general, which could find the favor of the fortune, the favor of the luck coming into picture. It could also result into a new job, work, career opportunity for your spouse's Pisces. So all Pisces people who are looking for jobs, or their partners are looking for jobs, that is going to be a good, positive twist that you are going to find during this period. Now, once Mercury is going to become retrograde, that is where you'll have to remember that whilst he has the ownership of these two houses, he also rules your mental peace, your decision making, your communication skills, your craftiness for that matter, your strategy that you bring to the table. And that is something which could start getting impacted to a certain degree from 10th of or 11th of November onwards once Mercury is retrograded. Now, that is where I will recommend you to have some judicious discussion with your be it with your spouse or with your uh, gurus, mentors, teachers, guide, or your father for that matter, as to how you can navigate those scenarios better. Maybe getting a first, second, third opinion is not a bad idea at all for you folks. You might have to also face people who are already employed, could have to face certain repercussions, disagreements with their bosses, superiors, leaders. Be very cognizant as to how you go about navigating those situations, because Mars and Mercury combination is also going to ooze your energy in terms of communication. It might make you speak pretty fast. It might make you communicate ideas a lot more aggressively, and that might rub off difficult. Mars in this ninth tends to bring some bit of a friction with the leadership, with the people above you, with your elders. That is what you'll have to be extremely careful, because this combination can be rocky from that perspective. Yes, Mercury is a Kendra Lord. Mars is holding second and ninth lordship. So it's a Raj Yoga in conjunction as well for you folks. But that communication or that thinking must be validated, must be thought through, or else it can have a negative impact, especially when Mercury is retrograded. Whilst he is direct, I think you guys will still be able to still see some progress. Don't be surprised if there are any challenges which are coming up with communication equipments with your long distance, short distance travel, as well as somewhere or the other. I feel a lot of you Pisces would be looking forward to take some holiday, long distance travel for your work opportunities as well. New job interview could be in a faraway place. That could also come into picture. Like travel is required for you to go and meet somebody. It's not going to be a work from home, Zoom, Google Meet only. It's going to be some sort of an interaction that could possibly come into picture that you have to keep in mind. As you navigate towards the second half of the month from 16th of November onwards, Sun will finally leave the 8th house. That's such a relief. You all know I'm not a huge fan of the luminaries coming into the 8th house. So Sun will finally move out of the 8th house for you folks and will be coming into the sign of Scorpio, where he will become conjunct with that Mercury, retrograded Mercury, and with Mars. Now, three planetary placement, it can be both disruptive, but I think in this case, the challenges that you could see upcoming from a Mercury standpoint, Sun's movement into the ninth house is indicating that there is going to be some opportunity. Whilst there could be obstacles, but there could be some opportunity that will work out with the luck factor coming into picture for your career. See, Sun is going to be stationed with your ninth lord. Ninth lord is in his own house. He's deeply powerful. Sun is, of course, the king. So he tends to bring certain complications, problems for you, but it will still be resulting into sort of respect, growth, positivity. And why do I emphasize on that bit? Because Jupiter, through the course of this period, at least for this month's reading till November, is sitting in its sign of exaltation and giving an aspect. Now, many people would say that he will get retrograde and the impact could be negative. Not necessarily, right? If that also depends from a transit perspective, that how is the placement of Jupiter in your natal chart, in your natal dasha, antardasha? That is going to be very crucial. If your Jupiter is let's say, placed into the sign of Capricorn in the house of gains, it will have a mixed result to it. So you will have to sort of analyze and figure out that what is going to pan out. But the aspects of Jupiter are powerful, especially the retrograded aspects of Jupiter are crucial. Yes, the dilemma that comes into picture is he's getting into retrogression in the sign of Cancer, but he's not deep into degree. So I'm still not very worried about that bit. Now, once that happens, Mercury will then start inching back towards the sign of Libra, while Venus will swap its position and be entering in the sign of Scorpio as well. Now, Venus in Scorpio, not a great situation to be in, but Venus in the ninth house, not a bad situation to be in again. So it's going to bring in mixed results in there. Mercury slipping back into the Libra is going to be crucial, because from here he is going to be giving an aspect towards your second house. So constantly you see Mercury is either aspecting your second or your third house. And therefore, I cannot emphasize, be it your oral, written, formal, informal communication, personal communication, in any shape or form, even mass communication from a social media standpoint perspective as well. Guys, you've got to be careful on that front. Navigate sharply. You will have to think once, twice, thrice. And I'm not saying that you will necessarily make mistakes. It's just that you might have to strategize about that, maybe bounce off with somebody, then think over it again, and then accordingly communicate at your workplace, writing your emails, getting that new job offer. Think as to how you are presenting yourself so that you are not in much of a glitch. In fact, things will only get to smoothen, iron out for you as you move towards December as well. Now, well, once that switch of Venus has happened into the sign of Scorpio, three planetary combination again continues with the aspect of Jupiter, and these planets will be giving an aspect, along with Venus towards the third house itself. So that effort, the focus that you need to put, that you need to bring to the table, and then alignment of that effort with your luck is going to be very positive. When I move further, I see that Rahu is placed in your 12th house. Well, 12th house placement to Rahu is not a bad placement to be in. It's a decent placement for that matter. I prefer the opposite way, but Rahu is in its own sign. And yes, expenses continue to be on top of your mind. Foreign connections, collaborations continue to be crucial. They remain very critical for you, but it is only going to multiply. And why do I say that? Because Mars, we've discussed the other aspect, but Mars has additional aspects like Jupiter and Saturn. So Mars is giving a fourth aspect onto your 12th house, and that means that travel related to foreign countries, foreign locations, communication, collaboration, partnership, expansion, investment, expenses, or any kind of uh, uh, effort which is churning out your energy into a place of isolation, all of that is going to multiply. So you are probably going to do a lot more than you are already doing, but that might not necessarily be a bad thing. Some bit of donation, some bit of charitable activity always goes a long way. So you should consider continuing doing that as well, and that will be specifically helpful as well. I will talk about Ketu, but before that, I would want to touch upon Saturn here. Saturn sitting in retrogression, and it had been in deep retrogression, which I was alluding in my previous monthly videos. But here I want to call out is that one, Jupiter is giving an aspect on this Saturn, and number two, Saturn is finally going to be moving towards its direct or progressive motion from 27th of November, and somewhere middle of November itself, around 14th, 15th, you will start seeing that Saturn will behave a lot more direct because he will be almost getting stationary in its motion. Now, he is your 11th and your 12th Lord. So, your 11th Lord has been in retrogression, and which means that a lot of your goals, ambitions, desire, wishes have seen some degree of stagnation. It was like that things had almost been working out and then not working out. Now, for Pisces moon, especially if you are watching this and you have your Sadesati going on as well, you see, this has been a sort of difficult period because retrogression of your loss making planet or your 12th lord has also happened in your lagna. So everything is inching towards the 12th in terms of things not working out. And I wouldn't mind this Saturn becoming direct now. You would have observed that right from June all the way till date, you should have faced, or you would have faced, a lot of complications, challenges, difficulties. There will be some degree of shift that you can anticipate now coming in. And the fact that Jupiter is also aspecting is giving a lot of positive energy out there. Saturn gives an aspect towards the third house. You've been putting in efforts, those efforts have not been working out. The work required has been twice, thrice, or redelving into those situations. You, you know, sometimes you would wonder, what do I mean by retrying? You've been putting on those job applications, getting into screening, getting into shortlisting and stuff, and still something not working out for you. You've been working in terms of getting that one important deal, that one important project that has to be closed timely so that you get the right recognition, that one exam, that one particular subject that needs to be cracked, but it has been facing some kind of a dilemma coming into picture, some sort of a lack of energy, enthusiasm coming into play. You see how things transpire in real life, and especially from Pisces moon perspective, I want to call out there will be a substantial amount of relief, and The shift of that, whilst sun comes into picture, there will be a definitive shift from 15th 16th onwards, but there will be a shift that you would have already started observing since Jupiter has come into into exaltation. Now Jupiter's movement is short time, it is for about 45-48 days. And guys, we did a detailed video on Jupiter's transit. If you've not had a chance, I'll highly recommend you to go ahead and please check out that video. It'll give you a lot of clarity. But Jupiter's exaltation, being the lord of your first and your 10th, does tell that there are possibilities of improvement coming into your life, into your health, into your communication, into your work, whatever effort, time that you've been putting in, or in general, the recognition from the market towards your work. There would have been certain degree of shift that you would have observed in the last couple of weeks. And that is also helping in terms of its aspect onto your Lagna, onto your Saturn there. So some clarity on that front. We already touched upon Jupiter's aspects towards your 9,000, how he's helping things with respect to your luck, expansion, fortune, and the three planets, especially energizing Sun and Mars. But he's giving a debilitated aspect towards your 11th house. So yes, there is a promise of gains. It could be diminished, but the gains that you anticipate, they will increase, especially post Saturn becomes direct, and as long as Jupiter is continuing to give that aspect in the sign of Capricorn. So what you will realize is that if by the end of the month of November, something positive that you've been trying to get, some sort of a growth is going to be definitely reflecting. Okay. Now, last but not the least, Ketu's analysis. Yes, Rahu and Ketu shifted here in May, and they will be stationed in this position till all the way till December of 2026. But Ketu's dispositor, Sun, has been in a difficult spot. Now, Sun had been in challenging situations because he was getting eclipsed earlier. While he was with Leo, then he got an eclipse entering into Virgo. So all that period from September, October, even the last part of August has not at all been easy. The second half of August onwards, things have been difficult for you, Pisces. And whilst he's getting a niche panga, he's okay placed, but he's still in the eighth house, right? Getting the support of Mars earlier and Venus later. Things are going to see a substantial improvement once Sun gets into the sign of Scorpio. Co-ownership of Scorpio is with Ketu as well. Then, to make matters interesting, Ketu is in the nakshatra of Venus, and Venus is at least getting in a decent shape and form with its own sign, and will only evolve better as it progresses further. Remember, Venus is crucial for you because he gets exalted in your Lagna or in your Rashi. So he's a crucial planet. He's a positive planet in a way for you as well. I don't see Venus negative at all for Pisces. And therefore, you have to understand that the challenges that you are facing in terms of competition, in terms of your workplace, in terms of your health, in terms of any kind of money related matters, you've not been able to address the loans that you've taken, or the financial situation, the financial crunch that you've been facing. For all those things, or maybe that rhythm in terms of your daily regimen, your hard work has not been coming into picture. Ketu will start showing shifts. Shifts for other, some of the other Rashis are much better, like that for Aquarius, but for you guys, that shift is going to begin at least from the second half of November. So the beauty that I see is that November is turning out a decent month. You've come a long way from August, September, much improved October. November is going to be a much better month as well. Yes, there are certain degrees of areas of concerns that you have to take care of in terms of your communication, in terms of your energy, in terms of your decision making. But at the same time, I think week over week, the possibilities of time getting only better for you, money situation getting better, job scenario getting better, career, work, relationship seeing an improvement is definitely on the cards. And Ketu's giving a strong indication of that post 15th onwards. I hope you understand and appreciate the insights that I've shared here. You acknowledge the efforts that I, put into prepare these videos. If you do, then I request you to please smash on that like button, subscribe to the Astrology, and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Mahadev.